Right now, we're 50% down from last year.
Really? I'm doing the best that I can with the best that I have.
That particular pivot, I discovered that I had to be creative.
And really just evaluate, who you are.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Pivotal Moments with Liletta. Today I have Dr. Mina Garrett-Scott with me. I am super excited. Oh my goodness, I love her so much, and I'm so glad that she is taking time out of her busy schedule. Obviously, we know we are still in a pandemic, so it's a busy schedule. So I'm super excited. Let's get right on to it. Welcome, Dr. Scott.
Thank you.
Tell everybody, yes, introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Dr. Mina Garrett-Scott, and I'm a family physician at Herndon Family Medicine, which is an affiliate of Inova Medical Systems in Northern Virginia, in Herndon, Virginia. I've been a practicing family physician for nearly 16 years. I don't like to say that out loud because you kind of figure out my age.
Right.
And family medicine doctors are doctors for the whole family. So we take care of people from birth to geriatric population. And medicine is not a job for me, it's a passion. And it's something that I do believe that the Lord called me to and imparted so many gifts that I can share with others. So it's my pleasure to care for my community.
Awesome. Well, and knowing you personally, I can attest, and even working with you, I can attest to exactly what you're saying. Seriously, y'all, she really cares about patients. I know most doctors say that, but she really does care about the patients and the community.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, you're so welcome. So let's talk about pivotal moments. So obviously, this year itself, and I just can't even imagine what you have been through being in the medical field firsthand during this time. But let's talk about a time when you've had to pivot.
Yeah, well, I mean, a pandemic is a perfect time to pivot when you're in medicine, right? So, standing in my kitchen in the month of March, watching as the COVID-19 pandemic sort of unfolded before our very eyes, seeing our community shut down, seeing my babies not being able to go to school safely, thinking about the safety of my family as I continue to administer healthcare, thinking about the possibilities of, family medicine groups and primary care groups shutting down and not being able to administer care safely. This was a terrifying time. And I think, medicine prepares you for everyday run-of-the-mill office medicine when you are in, family medicine and primary care fields. But, emergency management and preparation for a situation like this was nothing that anyone could prepare for. And I feel like, the national news media also sensationalized a lot of the, the issues and brought a lot of fear into homes, fear into patients' homes, fear into the hearts of physicians who are administering care, wondering if we can all stay healthy and do it in a sound manner, in a safe manner. And, we've never seen anything like this. So, I think there was the moment where, I remember going to this basic supermarket. I became the designated shopper for our family because I have an 80-year-old father-in-law living with us, a kid with a heart condition living with us. And I didn't want, our family going out. Really, we were kind of stuck in the house. And I remember walking up the aisles of Giant and thinking, am I going to be able to feed my kid? There was nothing on the shelves. Like, it looked like a third world country. And in the United States, we're one of the richest countries in the world with, the most access to healthcare, clean food, clean water. I think this was the first time in my life where my confidence in the infrastructure was shaken, to be honest. That's how I felt. And, okay, so you have money in the bank, right? But you can't buy stuff that's not there. How are you going to get toilet paper? How are you going to get water? How are you going to get food in this house? It struck me. And I think nobody in our household had that moment because they weren't going out. So I'm walking through the Giant at 5 o'clock in the morning because I was trying to get there before the virus, right?
Yeah.
And there was nothing. There was literally no food. So, that was definitely a moment. And then how are we going to continue to care for people when people are calling the office, are terrified they have COVID? We don't want to infect ourselves. We have physicians in our practice that are in that, scary age, over 60, who are at high risk for complications so they contract the virus. So, the partners figuring out how to stay open, how to start telehealth as a way to keep the doors open. Are the younger partners going to still have a job? Are we going to be able to keep the doors open and keep people moving in and out safely? It was just so many things. And then, okay, all of that going on, and how do I educate my kids? Still a mom, right?
Yeah.
So it was just, I feel like every week there was some shifting, some pivoting, some need to be flexible because that's what you had to do to survive it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, first of all, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being on the front lines. And what I really appreciate is, when I do these interviews, I really try not to tell people what to say or anything like that, because I want to hear just organically what they present, and to hear you share, not just as a doctor, not just someone on the front lines on the medical side, but as a human, as a mom. And I think that's what people don't always recognize, that these ones that are on the front lines, they are still humans, and they're still dealing with the same stress and fears and anxieties that everyone is experiencing. So thank you for sharing that and being transparent about that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a moment, and now I'm looking forward to, we are living 40 minutes outside of Washington, D.C., right before probably one of the most important elections in our country's history. And are we going to have a peaceful transfer of power? So I have 2 little Black children in my household that I've got to feed and keep safe, when I feel that the rhetoric coming out of Washington is not one of unity and not one of peace. And it takes a lot of prayer to wake up every morning and go into that office and pray that my babies are safe home doing their their virtual school, and think about, in 6 weeks, what is it going to look like here in Virginia when this election comes to fruition. And to pray that every piece of infrastructure that we have already built is going to keep COVID under control, keep the national news media under control, keep, the federal government intact, but we have experiences in other countries, democratic countries, where things can get a little serious very quick when we're talking about emotions and racism and guns and people just not having the right mindset. So there are so many things that have happened this year. It just blows my mind. I'm still sitting here like, this is one of the most challenging years of all of our lives. And I bet you every person listening, every person sitting in a chair thinking about it, this is something we cannot even comprehend, the times that we're living through.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Wow, it is. It is so much, and when we talk about these pivotal moments, what we found is that, excuse me, these moments are something that really show what's important to us. It shows those unchangeable, fundamental things that we stick to, and we make those pivots around that. So with you making the pivots you had to make, what did you discover was that fundamental, unchangeable thing for you?
Yeah, so my family is number one.
Yes.
My family, actually, God is number one. Sorry, I misspoke. My relationship with the Father is number one. And even though there was parts of me that were feeling a little shaky walking through those aisles in Giant, I put my mask on every morning, and I read my Romans 8, and I got in the car and I said, you know what, this is what I have to do as a mom. So even though there was parts of me that felt uncomfortable, shaky, scared, virus, no virus, had to kind of think about safety procedures and doing just the basic stuff I had to do to prepare and provide for my kids, I didn't stop because I know that he's in control. And that was number one. And then number two, no matter what happens, we're a family and we're here. And the job doesn't matter at the end of the day. All the stuff doesn't matter. The house, the cars, none of that matters. Our safety and our health and just our family unit is the most important thing. And whatever it is, God will provide. God will provide.
Yeah.
God will provide. So that kind of kept me going, and it's still keeping me going. I also had moments that the kitchen is where I basically spend all my time thinking, apparently, because that's where I spend a lot of time as a mom, right? So I was cooking something, cleaning up something, putting something away, putting something on the table. So, there was a moment when I asked myself, why am I not a basket case right now? Why am I not going on medication? Why? Yeah. I'm taking care of people, and if they're not worried about COVID, they have an anxiety disorder, right? And they're called. Yes. But then I stopped and I said, my faith.
That's it.
My faith. That's why I wasn't basket case. I didn't let that fear overtake my mind, because in those moments, it's really easy to kind of let that be your God, right? An idol, right? In our lives. Yes. Fear. It can be an idol. It can take over. And when I had to turn off the news. I had to stop listening to that mess in Washington, because they weren't talking about nothing, no way. Right. I had to stop listening to the CDC, the NBC, the ABC, all the C's. I'm sorry. It got to a point where I just had to turn it off. Yeah. And I was telling patients the same thing. People were calling in with huge problems with anxiety, not sleeping. And I said, turn it off. Turn it off for 10 minutes every day. So you hear the highlights. Yeah. Where's the food? Where are the testing centers? What's going on with the vaccine? And then turn it off. Yeah. Turn it off.
Wow. That is something so it's funny because I feel your pain in the sense that I'm one of those patients to my poor doctor. I have had so many virtual appointments and obsessively checked my temperature, but it's exactly what you're saying, because we're bombarded with fear tactic, and it does do a number on you. So hearing it, now speaking to another doctor who's a friend, it's like, maybe I should apologize to my doctor.
No, don't apologize. And this is what we're here for. Yeah. You know what? Thank you, God, for the gift of him and empowering me to stand firm in my faith and have wide shoulders. And it's also an opportunity for ministry. When you stop and think about it, we are in a faithless time where people don't really have, a church home, a synagogue, a meeting place where they are supported, and they have people in their lives to pour into them and speak truth to them and help them to grow in faith. And when you're in faithless times, of course, the anxiety is going to take over, right? Because what do you look to, right? What do you look to? So you can pray for your patients, you can pray for friends. That's something that I do. Sometimes the medicine isn't going to work because the answer is in a pill bottle, right? Yeah. So it's, it's sort of like we have to not only be able to administer treatment, medicines, therapy, but also, pray. Yeah. Prayer. Yeah. It's so important.
Yeah, that's beautiful. When we talk about, making these shifts and all that, I always bring up about adjustments, because while pivoting can be that good thing, right? It's all about what's important to us, and we kind of willingly make those shifts because of what's important. Adjustment is not always so pretty. Adjustment is really defined as adapting to a situation or circumstance. So for you, can you tell us when you had to maybe make the adjustment rather than the pivot?
Yeah. So, prime example, kids going back to school virtually. When the world is starting to reopen and the job says, come on back to work, Dr. Scott, we see patients and we have PPE. And I'm like, I have 2 minor children, a 10 and a 12-year-old. I can't be out of this house 5 days a week. Being super doc, when I have 2 kids to raise who are not going to be getting on that yellow bus and in the safety of that brick and mortar school every day, right? So adjustment, we had to hire a tutor. We had to, thank God, rely on family, to help us with, some of the day-to-day logistics of, the kids getting online and getting, the resources from school and, installing this virtual learning. Lita, I was just like, how? And it also took some fortitude for me to stand up to my employer and say, listen, y'all have all these virtual platforms, and I understand that you want me up in there, but that's not going to be a decision that's right for my family. So let's make a compromise, right? So out of the office 2 days, in the office 3. I can't be out of the home for 5 days a week when I have minor children in this situation. And thank God for my father-in-law. He's been a wonderful resource to kind of stand in the gap. And, you know, we have a beautiful home, so the kids are well taken care of. They're fine. You know, the first week I was home the first day of school, so we got our links together, we got organized.
Yeah.
You know, we're on a schedule now. We get up at 6:30. Breakfast is on the table. Get your towel on your computer at 7:15. You know, no, everybody's rubbing their eyes and complaining about tired because they've been off school for 5 months, right?
Right.
Because they didn't have the spring because they couldn't pull it together for that time, right?
That's right.
And then they had summer and they were staying up all night and zooming and playing video games and partying. So they thought, well, we're home, so it's going to be the same business as usual, right? We're in the pool in the middle of the day. No, you're not. So there was some adjustment going on. Yeah. Mommy had to be the warden, okay? Yeah. And Daddy put his pants on and went to work. That's how it works. I'm the warden. I have to be, you know, unfortunately, you know, sort of the law when it comes to organizing the home and making sure that everybody knows where they're supposed to stand. Everyone knows their expectations. Yeah. And that is exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like you said, you're still have the other stuff going on. It's not like the other stuff pauses so you can now deal with the kids at home virtual, you know, like I can appreciate that. That's a lot. It is a lot, but I have to give them kudos too, because they have been remarkably resilient through this whole thing, and they are really good kids. They haven't given me much trouble. Taking my shoe off in there. You do have very sweet kids.
They're nice, but they have their moments.
Yes.
Like, okay, now who's the mother? Come on now. Especially the girl. My daughter Marie is 10, and she's coming into her womanhood. You know, things are changing. The hormones are coming, and she's got a lot of me in her, as I genuflect. Lord, my mama always said, all that mouth you got, you gonna give it back. And I am getting it back tenfold. Woo, Lord.
Oh, poor thing.
She's beautiful. And she has a voice. And I'm so grateful for her standing in her power. I just don't like it when it happens to me. Okay. Stand in your power with your girlfriend. Stay in your lane.
I love it. And I love that you just, with everything, that you still have your beautiful smile, your sense of humor. I love it. Like you said, it's your faith. It's your faith keeping you going. Wow.
It's my relationship with the Father. No question. It's the only reason why I'm not somewhere in a corner, you know, rocking. Because these are very strange times.
Yeah.
Very strange times.
Well, Mina, as we come to the end of our conversation, I always have my guests leave our viewers with just that message directly from them, whatever it is that you want to say directly to those watching as we deal with these tough times. What would you like to tell them?
Absolutely. Well, I want to say the trouble doesn't last always. And I think that the hard times prove to us that we have more strength and more power in our body than we even knew we had. So just hold on. One bad day does not define us. One bad moment does not define us. One bad season doesn't define us. And there's a beautiful future ahead. We just have to trust and hold on. Hold on.
Oh, I love it. I
gotta hold on myself.
That's well, I will certainly keep you in my prayers. Like I said, you're on the front lines. You're doing so much. You're not just a doctor. You're a mom. You're a wife. You're a family person. You know, and you're feeling it like everyone, and even more. So I will keep you in my prayers, and just thank you for being such a strong beacon of light for us and in the community. It really says a lot.
Thank you, Liletta. Thank you for including me in your wonderful ministry.
Oh, you're so welcome. Well,
thank you.
You have been watching another episode of Pivotal Moments with Liletta. Again, very inspiring, very encouraging. And like I said, just another wonderful conversation I'm just so grateful for. So as always, thank you for supporting me in this show, and tune in next time for another episode of Pivotal Moments with Liletta.